Well, this afternoon, 10 on your side brings you a special coronavirus digital discussion about the pandemic. We have them on most Monday afternoons at 1:15. The House is set to pass the Democrats' $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill on Tuesday, and that means that most Americans are going to be getting another stimulus check. Today, we're talking about money and the timing of the government's checks. Joining me now is Old Dominion University economics professor Robert McNab, director of the Dragus Center for Economic Analysis and Policy. Dr. McNab, great to see you again.
Thank you very much, Stephanie.
All right, now some people are really excited to hear that they're going to be getting another big payday. We said most Americans will get a $1,400 check, but not as many as the last two times around. Tell me what's different. Who qualifies and who doesn't this time?
So what happened is that the Senate lowered the threshold for the full payment of the stimulus check to $75,000 for a single individual or $150,000 for a married couple filing jointly. And this now phases out totally at $80,000 for a single individual and $160,000 for two people filing jointly. One other big change is that dependents now will count for a household up to the age of 24 versus the previous versions where it was only much younger than that, up to 17.
Right. So this time, if you have a college student that you still claim on your taxes, you will be getting the money for those students as well.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So this bill also extends unemployment benefits that were set to run out soon. Tell us about that.
Well, the unemployment benefits were originally scheduled to stop at the end of this week. The expanded unemployment benefits that we have come to know as the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program and the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, which added an additional $600 a week additionally, and then $300 in the most current version. That was negotiated to extend into late summer, actually into September, an additional $300 a week. And that will allow the long-term unemployed a greater financial cushion to weather this shock to labor markets.
And who is this for specifically for those who are on unemployment? It's not for anybody who's on unemployment, right?
No, it is first you have to file a regular state claim. If you don't, for example, have a traditional job, you're a gig worker, you would file a pandemic unemployment assistance claim. And then if you exhaust all those benefits, you move on to the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program. And this extends those benefits out through the end of summer, at which time we hope that labor markets have sufficiently recovered that an additional tranche of unemployment assistance is not necessary.
And this is much needed money for some people. We're talking about gig workers, as you mentioned, those who might work at like a concert venue, or people who have sites that they typically would hold a wedding there, something like that.
Yes, it's the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and the PEUC were added on due to the nature of the economic shock. If you think about travel and tourism in Hampton Roads, we've seen a significant decline due to the pandemic. And while there's been a recovery, we're still way below where we were last year in February and then even in 2019. So those people who work in concert venues, music venues, anywhere there's been lots of social gatherings and large crowds will have to wait until those events return in full swing, so to speak. And that may be through the summer, depending upon the speed of vaccinations and acceptance of vaccinations by the general public.
Gotcha. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is criticizing the Democrats here, saying that a lot of this money is unnecessary. He specifically points to a better than expected February jobs report as evidence of that.
Well, 1 month doesn't make a trend. And if you go back and look at the previous 4 months, you would see a slowing jobs recovery. Now, as we've discussed before, there is a tight relationship between public health and economic health. And so when coronavirus infections spiked in the fall, we saw that economic activity slowed. Now, with the rollout of vaccines, one would argue that labor markets are going to recover. The question is whether or not we provide assistance to the 19 million people who are continuing to file unemployment for unemployment benefits in the United States, and the increasing number of long-term unemployed. This is direct money in their pockets that will be directly spent in the economy. And what we will probably see is that most of these will result in a surge in economic growth in the coming months.
All right, now for those who really do need this money, timing, of course, is everything. And right now, the IRS is responsible for getting these stimulus checks out. And of course, we are right in the middle of tax season. So do you think the IRS is equipped to handle all this? And how might it impact either our stimulus money coming to us or our refund checks?
Well, if you look at what happened in the last set of stimulus payments, as soon as the president signed the bill into law, we saw within 1 to 2 weeks money starting to arrive in the checking account or savings accounts of individuals. Again, this should be about the same, even though the IRS is in the middle of tax season, because the IRS already has the electronic records of taxpayers and it's merely moving the money from one treasury account into another and then into taxpayers' accounts. There's not much processing involved by a tax return, which might be a little bit more complicated.
So for those folks who I've talked to several who are actually still waiting for their refund already, they said, usually 3 weeks. If you file electronically, you should get that refund. And it's been the 3 weeks and still nothing, which is a little bit unusual when you compare it to years past. Do you think that they are being overworked at this point?
Well, we have to remember that tax returns are different than stimulus checks. In a tax return, the IRS is having to validate your income and deductions and match all that information together before issuing a refund. In the stimulus checks, the IRS is working off your already accepted tax information from the previous tax year or this year if you're filed early, and is using that amount to determine whether you're qualified for a stimulus check, the amount of the stimulus check, and then it cuts the stimulus check. So the steps, there's much less in terms of steps that must be done for stimulus payments to move out.
All right, let's talk about another entity that will be benefiting from this, and that is our schools. They will be getting more money. Our local school districts have already gotten millions of dollars through the first two payouts, and a lot of districts haven't spent that money yet from even the first round of CARES Act money. So the question some are asking is, do they need it? And what happens if they don't use it?
Well, this is one of the critiques of the bill that I think is valid, and it really is not about schools, but it is about the aid to state and local governments. The argument has been that state and local governments have had this big revenue shock, and the federal government is going to cushion that shock to avoid layoffs and cuts to services. But as you noted, schools and state and local governments haven't spent all the money from the first rounds of stimulus. This bill adds another $350 billion in aid to state and local governments and allows them to draw those expenses down through 2024. So there is a valid critique there to say if they're not haven't fully expended the funds that have already came through and you're allowing them to expend funds for the next 3 years, maybe that's really not targeted relief.
All right. All right. Well, with this latest relief bill, I believe we're talking $2 trillion in spending for COVID relief. So what is this doing to our national deficit?
Well, the deficit obviously is going to increase again dramatically this year. What we've seen over the last 5 years is that the deficit has steadily increased and then and that happened first with increases in discretionary spending. That is the choices Congress makes to buy ships, planes, and other programs. Then the tax cuts under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act meant that we entered the pandemic looking at $1 trillion deficit annually for the next 10 years unless changes were made. And now you're layering stimulus after stimulus after stimulus. So at some point, the Congress and the president, whether this administration or next, are going to have to face the bill And that's going to obviously mean increased taxes and a combination of spending cuts. The question is really one of political will.
We've talked about this a little bit before, but do you see this, however, as a necessary evil, if you will, or do you think that this is something our children will be paying for decades to come, and it's really going to become their burden?
Yes, to both.
To both.
Um, and the way to think of this is that even though we've had a recovery from the pandemic, the recovery is incomplete and fragile. We still are in a place where long-term unemployment, that people who have been out of a job for 20 plus weeks or more, is increasing every month. We have more than 19 million people in the United States who continue on unemployment insurance. So there, and if you look at initial unemployment claims and take the worst week we had during the Great Recession, we've beat that 50 straight weeks in a row. So we've had increases in production and we've had increases in retail sales, and states are doing better than expected in terms of revenues. But on the flip side, if you are in travel or tourism or some parts of the retail industry, you're much worse off than you were prior to the pandemic. And so we've seen the emergence of a really what we call a K type of recession, that skilled higher income workers have fared relatively well compared to lower skilled retail trade, essential, and travel and tourism industry workers.
So at some point, it has to come to an end, right? So do you think we've got the vaccine out in the communities now? As you said, people are starting to get out more, starting to spend, but then again, it'll take years for a recovery. So do you think, is this it? This is our last stimulus check? Do we have to move on after this? Or do you think there could be something else in the future if it takes years to recover?
Well, I think it's exactly what you started your question off with. Can we get enough people to take the vaccine quickly enough so we don't have a variant of COVID-19 come along that renders current vaccines ineffective? So it's two sides of the same coin. The more people that get vaccinated, the more confidence people have in engaging in economic activity, going out, socializing frequently, bars, restaurants, concerts, and et cetera, and so on. And so we need to realize that getting people educated and aware of the safety and efficacy of the vaccines is really part of the recovery. And I think moving forward, what we've seen is that the evidence on the ground that people are seeing their friends and relatives getting the vaccine, having no significant effects, and weathering the mild fever and the aches and pains after a day or two, and then feeling much better about themselves and the risks they're facing, that builds confidence and that leads to economic activity.
Yeah, you have said it before right here on this webcast. You said if you want more money in your pocket, get the vaccine in your arm.
Yes, at the end of the day, it's a very simple equation that to defeat the virus, to essentially stop it from spreading in the population, we need enough people to have immunity. Right now we have two ways to do that, and that's one, you can get the virus and go through that course of the disease and acquire the antibodies, but that for some people is a very risky option, especially if you are older or you have medical conditions. Or you could get a vaccine that is right now everybody seems to be tolerating fairly well on average, and is providing significant levels of protection against infection, transmission, and hospitalization and death. So it's a very simple equation in terms of public health and economic health intertwining to produce a better recovery and a better, really, 2021 than many of us expected.
All right. Dr. Robert McNab, Old Dominion University, I thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you very much for having me on.
And if you just joined us and missed part of this, don't worry, we'll have a recap of our digital discussion coming up later today, beginning with Wavy News 10 starting at 4 o'clock. I'm Stephanie Harris. Have a great afternoon.